Loki has a super long and complicated history in the MCU.
Oversimplification of events, but yes.
But we're here to help make sense of all of it. Be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel below for complete coverage of all things in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. To fully tell the story of Loki, we need to go all the way back to the beginning. But because of his time traveling, we can also be somewhat brief. Empowered by Thanos, Loki, brother of Thor Odinson, led an unsuccessful attack on planet Earth in 2012. He was captured and imprisoned on Asgard until Thor broke him out. He had some adventures with and against his brother Thor.
Get help! Help him!
And in 2018, Thor's ship was attacked by Thanos and Loki was killed. But here's where it gets complicated. During the events of Avengers Endgame, the Avengers time travel back to 2012 to regain the Tesseract. But this time, their plans go awry, and Loki uses the Space Stone hidden within the Tesseract to portal away and avoid going into custody on Asgard. And that's where we pick up with Loki Season 1. Immediately after escaping his fate, Loki is arrested by the Time Variance Authority, or TVA for short, for crimes against the sacred timeline. Basically, the TVA determined that he had veered off the path that the quote-unquote timekeepers, 3 alien-looking beings that are tasked with organizing time, think Wizard of Oz, had created, and therefore he was in trouble. The TVA resets his timeline and takes Loki to their headquarters. After Loki stands trial with Judge Ravonna Renslayer, TVA agent Mobius, Mobius, not to be confused with Morbius, decides that he can use this variant of Loki to help him catch another Loki variant that is causing the sacred timeline all kinds of problems. Judge Renslayer reluctantly agrees. It takes a while, but a very confused Loki eventually understands what is going on. Only after Mobius explains it to him like 100 times and finally shows Loki how he's supposed to die at the hands of Thanos. Again, it's complicated. Seeing that he has no other way out, Loki reluctantly joins Mobius in helping the TVA track down the other Loki variant. Together, Loki and Mobius determine that the variant has been hiding in different apocalypses spread all across time. It's this newfound knowledge that allows them to track down variant Loki in 2050 Alabama. But when push comes to shove, our Loki escapes through the same portal as the variant Loki, leaving Mobius frustrated and perplexed.
Damn it!
This variant of Loki is named Sylvie, and after Loki and Sylvie get to know each other, Loki learns that all of the agents at the TVA are actually just variants of people from Earth who had their memories wiped away. As Loki and Sylvie start to form a romantic bond, yes, something that obviously shouldn't happen since they are basically the same person, they cause a branch in the sacred timeline. Sylvie shares with Loki that her plan is to kill the Timekeepers and take down the TVA for all the pain they have caused her and countless others. Sylvie and Loki are eventually arrested and taken back to the TVA. Loki tries explaining to Mobius that he too is just a variant and that the TVA, Ravonna, and the Timekeepers have all been lying to him. At first, Mobius doesn't believe it, but after a bunch of other fishy stuff happens, like the Timekeepers not even being real, Mobius starts to see the truth. Ravonna, now seeing Mobius, Loki, and Sylvie as major threats to the sacred timeline, prunes all 3 of them. Well, Sylvie prunes herself, but it's just easier to say that, and sends them to a void at the end of time to spend the rest of their days amongst other pruned beings. In this void, Loki meets over a dozen other variants of himself, including even an alligator. By the way, Alligator Loki won our Friendly Award for Best Little Buddy. All of them unique, but all of them following a similar life plan, and all of them ending up in this void for similar reasons. Loki eventually meets up with Sylvie and Mobius. Mobius, now fully realizing that the TVA must be stopped, uses a portal and heads back to the TVA to confront Ravonna. Sylvie and Loki team up, defeat a monster, and head to a citadel that sits at the end of time. Once confronted, Ravonna Renslayer flees
in search of free will.
Loki and Sylvie reach the pinnacle of the citadel and meet He Who Remains, an eccentric, mysterious, and even terrifying character who explains to Sylvie and Loki the entire history of the TVA, the sacred timeline, and all he knows about the variants. The explanation is masterful television that can really only be appreciated by watching the finale of Loki Season 1, but I'll try to explain it anyways. He Who Remains explains that eons ago there was a multiversal war that nearly ended every living thing. Thankfully, using science and technology, he figured out a way to wrangle all of the different timelines into one sacred timeline, therefore preventing the end of everything. He created the TVA to help keep the flow of time within that sacred timeline running smoothly, and he has been doing that for a long time, and he's tired. He Who Remains, who we also know as Kang, gives Sylvie and Loki a choice. They can either take over his job and oversee the TVA, or kill him and risk another multiversal war. Loki struggles with this decision, but Sylvie, being so hardened by revenge, pushes Loki through a portal and kills He Who Remains. Loki shows back up in the TVA, but this time, it's not the same TVA he knows. It's a different version of it, one in which Mobius does not recognize him. Meanwhile, back in the Citadel, Sylvie watches as the sacred timeline begins to branch into many multiverses, and now the multiverse era is officially upon us. During the events of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, we see another variant of He Who Remains who goes by Kang the Conqueror. This Kang, while extremely powerful, is currently imprisoned in the quantum realm and is attempting to escape. He is temporarily stopped by Ant-Man and the Wasp, but in the post-credits scene, we see a council of Kangs with thousands of Kangs discussing how they should proceed. And that brings us to Loki Season 2, where we find Loki, Sylvie, and Mobius back together again with another Kang variant on the loose. What kind of trouble will they get into this time? Is it too late to stop whatever Kang is up to? How can they prevent Loki from time skipping? All of this and more will be discussed right here on Friends from Work when Loki Season 2 premieres on Disney Plus on October 6th. We'll see you then.